they clip together. It actually feels like they all want to be together, you know? And the kid is going to be like,
3DS
oh my god, they want to connect.
At the Skylanders booth at E3. Biggest news of the day. One of the first things I heard, I was ecstatic about it. You can see the bottom screen. That is actually 4 on the left, 4 on the right, 8 elements. You can archive not one from each element, so you can progress through the game with your entire collection. Yeah, and have multiples even. So Series 1, Series 2, Giant, Light Force, Swap Force, everything will register. There's also a provision where we can actually come in and with the Swap Force, you can actually select your top and bottom from the touchscreen, meaning that when you complete your collection of 16 Swap Force characters, you'll actually have the 256 combinations. And as you can see on the screen, you can simply go through and select. So whether you want them straight up or you want to go through, try out the other 15 options for the character, it's up to you. That's the setup. On display, we have trusty old Tree Rex. Now we've got Roller Brawl. It actually looks pretty good. Another female character. As you can see, it's that kind of light cyan blue color. Ninja Stealth Elf. Everybody knows about her by now. Then we've got actually Countdown. Correct, as a tech element. In person, the figure looks just as good as it did on what we saw in the prototypes. Then we've got Blast Zone right here. He is Swap Force and Sports Washbuckler. So characters are great. Swap action. It's as easy as that. That was one-handed, no effort. That's actually the first time I've done it. Very strong magnet, as you can see from the attraction. But according to the guy here, he's a huge Skylander fanatic. Game Link should roughly be the same time in the 3DS. But the big thing, again, for 3DS people, we'll actually be able to archive our entire collection. Again, not just Swap Force, but actually going back to Series 1. So if we do not see the Castaways, you're a big Camo or Tornado fan, this is your ticket. You've got it covered. You can play them anytime with Swap Force. And that is really the big highlight from the 3DS here. Gameplay looks great. And there you go.
Hey everybody, One Wisdom here. 4:42 a.m. Thursday morning, June 20th, 2013. I shouldn't be in bed. I'm not, because I'm rehashing Swap Force E3. That said, I'm going to try to crank this out quick for you. Just did the what happens with half a Swap Force on the portal. Did the voice explanation as an intro. I've decided maybe now that some of these that'd be better suited for the end. That's what I'm going to do here. Won't talk about it. Going to focus on what's the issue at hand. 3DS Skylanders, as mentioned, in the Swap Force booth. This guy, out of the ones I talked to, was like the most into it. He was real passionate. Again, it's almost like he was one of the people that they, you know, picked out and flew out there to like get it. He was that excited about things, essentially. I do want to mention, I did check 2 other sources after this. Very, very high up person in Activision, and then the developers themselves. They backed what he told me initially, and then, you know, said, hey, I'm not 100% sure, you know, try not to get me in trouble. With that in mind, I had the opportunity to ask the higher up people with our behind the closed doors and then the developer time, and they said the same thing. I'm confident about it. If it's wrong, put the blame on me or the brass, not this guy. The coolest thing about the 3DS version this time around, I did check with him. It's going to be roughly the same, you know, playtime, story length. It's going to be an entirely different story from the console version. There's still a lot of people that are unaware of that. They just assume it's like, oh, I've got the Wii version, I don't need the 3DS version of SSA or Giants. It's the same thing. That is wrong. It's totally different. There were people like Skylander fans at the event that didn't have 3DSs, and that was their assumption. And I actually got to inform them. It's like, hey, no, there's Hector, and they're like, wait, what? Who? You know, that's going to be the case here. I didn't get a lot of details on that type of, you know, like who's the villain essentially, but it's going to be a different storyline. That makes it well worth the asking price, because it's going to be different. Similarly, no one's told me this. I've backed it from the beginning. The starter pack pictures we saw before E3, I think it was Volcanic Eruptor. He's kind of like the black and red coloring. When I saw Lava Barf Eruptor Series 3 at the Power A display, I knew that once again the 3DS was going to get that special in-game character. We started with Dark Spyro in SSA, then we had Punch Pop Fizz in Giants, and now it's going to be Volcanic Eruptor. There are actually a lot of Eruptor fans, I think, particularly with his Wow Pal in Giants. He's kind of grown more of a fan base. Similarly, like all the books and novels, all their extracurricular stuff outside of the game, he's like one of the staple core characters. So if you are into completing everything 100%, and you didn't somehow know that the 3DS version is like totally different, consider picking up a 3DS. It's actually one of the best systems in my opinion right now. It's got great games all the time, huge library, in part because it can play the DS games. It's really about the best $200 you can spend right now. But all that aside, the downside to the 3DS version, and one of the reasons I haven't played it as much, is just it's portable, which is great, but when you would travel, you're limited to 2 Skylanders. There's obviously ways around that. If you've got the Power Ace stuff like they gave us, the game pack, more importantly, like the Travel Toad, you could haul a ton of stuff around in that, and your portal. You can essentially have 2 Skylanders at a time. If you die, you rotate to the next one. You get the elemental bonuses and whatnot. It encourages you to change them every day. It's kind of not as convenient as the console version. It's wireless. The battery life has actually been pretty good. You simply press on the portal, it kicks on, and then it turns itself off. I don't think I've replaced the batteries for my SSA 3DS portal yet. That said, you're still, you're stuck with the 2 characters. You had Wendell or someone, a little portal you can go to and switch them from. In game, it's just if you're Dark Spyro, and you wanted to switch to Igniter, you just tap the screen and it happens. This time around, and I highlighted in the video, we've got massive improvement, and that's because all of your Skylanders can be used. Again, obviously, all your swap force, everything like that, we're going to go ahead and say that's 100%. Basically, anything that's releasing with the game. What I'm going to go ahead and come in at 99% again. This guy was great. I don't want him in trouble. Blame me. Blame the people at the top of the company because they told me the same thing. We'll come in here and we'll just say that Boomer and Voodoo are your favorite characters. We'll go theoretically and say they don't reappear in, Swap Force. You can put them in the game via your portal, and they will be stored in your system memory, and you can play them. The way I understand it, you've got, say, Slam Bam's your favorite. You can register via the portal Slam Bam, Series 2 Slam Bam, and Legendary Slam Bam, and they're all going to come up. Then where we kind of ran into the, hey, I'm not 100%, was basically, come in, we'll take Hot Dog, for example. We've got Hot Dog from Giants, and we've got Molten Hot Dog, the in-game variant. That's where they're on the, he was on the fence. When I brought it up, like I said, the top people, because I was asking the hard questions people were having to run and verify, they confirmed that. It could be inaccurate, but I'm going to still put it 99%. Again, feel free to blame me. I'm confident about it. It was basically hey, what are some of the bad things the guys are saying about the 3DS version, the boys and girls and, women and children and men that play. And it's hey, kind of sad I can only have 2 characters. It'd be nice, if I had more. When I saw the bottom screen, I knew they had done something awesome. My thoughts were they were going to let you have 1 from each element. That's how I kind of kick-started the conversation with the guy. I was well, sweet, now when I'm in the game, I can actually go, and when I find the elemental area, I can just tap it and have Terrafin. And he was yeah. And he kind of, said it slyly, and he's you can have everyone. And I'm wait, what? Everyone? And again, I've got the 3DS versions. I like them. I play them. And that's a huge, huge deal. Again, you have to kind of have been there with only the 2 Skylanders to appreciate it, but take my word for it. Big improvement on that end. Similarly, and you can see it in the video as well, with the Swap Force characters. Let's say you go out and you buy all 16 of them. As you know, 16 times 16, 256. That's a lot of swapping. It would be a complete nightmare to have your portal of power that you tap on in your special location to switch characters and go from Wash Buckler to Wash Zone to Wash Shift, and then come in and you want to use Stink Bomb, but you want the Stink Top, and then like I don't know, Hoot Loop's bottom, so you got Stink Loop. It would take a long time. The way it works in the game, the bottom screen there is an interface. You can go to the Swap Force characters and you cycle through. There's like a top icon and a bottom icon with arrows on either side. You just simply press through. If you had all 16, you can start with Wash Buckler, tap, 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 tap. You're at Magna Charge. Go down to the bottom arrow, tap the other way, and then you're at Magna Shift. Select it, go into the game, play, you're golden. Huge upgrade. That's something that, I mean, it's like one of those little fan wish list things that you don't really think will happen. Like I said, when I saw that bottom screen and there was like the 4 elements on the left, 4 elements on the right on the touch screen, I thought, man, they did it. I can have one of each character, and I like made that guy's day, because it was like, no, you can have them all. It's like, sweet, I tried not to get too excited about it, and I mean, this was like 8-9 days ago now. I mean, it's a big improvement, and again, totally new storyline, completely different than what we're gonna see in the console versions. Again, should be pretty decent gameplay. All your stuff's gonna work. The adventure packs, like we've seen Tower of Time now, and my GameStop flyer. If you've got Darklight Crypt sitting around somewhere, you can throw it on. It should be fine. They didn't actually say that. I'm just assuming it will. But big news there, and that's gonna be so nice for everyone that plays the 3DS versions. I don't want to ramble on too long here. Again, I'm at least putting this at the end for you now. That's why I kind of felt at liberty to talk a little bit longer. But it's just the other thing, and this is why it's like so hard. I'd never been to E3. I had no clue how loud it was going to be. The lighting in a lot of the booths, it may be good in some, but like the one next door to it might have like Disco Man strobe light going on, and pulsating, like red, white, and green. It was really hard to like get pictures and video, and then like half the time, I don't know if you can tell, but I was like actually yelling. So I thought, hey, I want to make sure when I take the time to walk through this and like record it that people actually hear me. And I mean, it's just so loud everywhere. Each booth wants you to hear their game and their information and everything. It's kind of like competing, and it's just like this massive tumult. Particularly for me, I like come out from the wide open spaces of Texas, and then you're like crammed in, and there's just, noise, and everybody's talking, and most of the people are as excited as I am, and so they're kind of buzzing, and it's a cool experience, but like in terms of like filming and doing like quality video and picture, it's kind of like a nightmare. That's what was so cool when we actually got to do the Activision Swap Force stuff, kind of like after hours behind the scenes. I don't know if that was like which PR company came up with that, but congratulations, it was awesome. Because by doing that, those of us that were there specifically for Swap Force, number one, we got alone time with the game, no interference or pressure, time crunch, etc. But more importantly, got to get a little better like video and pictures and everything. It wasn't quite as hectic as it was, but again, the 3DS version looked good. I had plenty of opportunities to play. Again, I spent my time asking questions, picking the brains of the people behind the product. That to me is like more rare of an opportunity than like actually getting hands-on playtime. I recorded quite a bit for W Drums on the Nintendo side, and then I'm still of the mindset I really like the series, and I kind of want things to be new to me. As much as I like learning, all the characters and their names and their slogans and, even getting a feel for the levels. There's like some things I want it to be new, when I have the game. That way I can like enjoy it at maximum level. Probably sounds stupid. Everyone's probably thinking, man, that idiot should have gotten his hands on that and recorded moves and tried to hit the pause menu and all kinds of stuff. But I will say, like, those thoughts came to my mind, and I think it was kind of like Controlled, where you couldn't really do that. I know, like, last year it was like the GameStop convention later in the year, like, somebody got to go to the pause menu and see, like, every level, I did get some other cool stuff. I mean, like I said, it's kind of like overwhelming just like having to fathom how to put this stuff together and present it to you. That's why I'm doing these like intros and outros with the voiceover, just because I realize it was loud. You might not have been able to hear or understand things, but that's what you needed to see in this one. The 3DS version, going to be roughly the same play time, totally new story, completely different than the console, and these are good games. It's not like this is some trash or something. SSA and Giants, if you're a Skylander person and you need something to get you through and you don't have a 3DS, go get a 3DS, pick those two games up. Both are really, really good. They had jumping for us, kind of like more platforming, if you will. All your characters work in them. You can go in, totally new storylines. You can experience everything. They've got some challenges and whatnot. And like I said, I mean, they're a standalone game. That's, again, it's like hard for me to understand, because some people are just like, I guess, oblivious to the 3DS or Nintendo into things, but it's essentially like two more games for you to enjoy, and they're full length, great quality. And if you get a 3DS, I mean, there's so many good games out, just even recently, that have come out for it. Really can't go wrong with it if you're into games at all. And more importantly, all those special characters like Dark Spyro, Punch Pop Fizz, Volcanic Eruptor, you can now buy those starter packs, get those characters, play them, enjoy them, and not just have like a game, a portal, and two characters that you don't want or want to sell, etc. Plus, this time the 3DS version's gone back. It's got the different characters in the other starter pack. Which, granted, they'll probably be available soon or at launch, but like Igniter, it took them a while in SSA to get him out, etc. But they could do the same thing. Bottom line, if you're a Skylander person and you do not have a 3DS, buy one. By the time Swap Force is out, you've got 3 great games. That'll get you access to the characters, everything like that. So I'll leave it at that. I've rambled on a lot longer than the video now, but that's kind of what I do. I try to give you as much information as possible, so any questions that you did have will be answered. The interface was incredibly slick, and again, just the ability for, like, say Swap Force came out today and I was going out of town, I could literally come in here, take all my starter pack characters from the 3DS and the Wii U, which I plan to pick up, register them, and then I can come in if I'm in a time crunch. I think, man, I just need to get a few, a couple from each element. I can grab my favorites, Terrafin, Slam Bam, Zap, Dino Ring, on down the line, Flameslinger, just come in, throw them on, hit the road, and just use that sweet touchscreen interface to make everything happen. So again, huge improvement. And again, if you don't have a 3DS and you're a Skylander fan, try to budget one in. By the time Swap Force comes out, that's 3 games. You get access to the standalone characters, and it's well worth your money. You get a lot of good playtime out of them. So again, I'll leave it at that. And this again was live from the Skylander Swap Force booth at E3. Had a great time there. And again, this particular guy at the 3DS one, he was awesome. Like I said, he was almost talking to myself. It was someone that excited about everything. And like I said, he kind of mentioned, people kind of went to the console versions. They didn't come over to the 3DS. And being a 3DS owner and a fan of the games on the 3DS, I was like, hey, let's check this out. And like I said, it blew my expectations out of the water, because I had just hoped, and I didn't think it would happen. I figured it would stay with the 2 characters. I thought maybe they'd implement something for Swap Force. I didn't think they'd do that good. And bottom line, I mean, they knocked it out of the park. In Space and Activision, I guess, maybe like put their heads together, and that was really, I guess, like the biggest drawback to the 3DS versions, and they've completely eliminated that now. Basically, after I get everything and unbox them, I'll probably start playing, the console version, and that night, as I'm like in bed, barely awake, I'm probably going to be cycling through my entire collection, putting it on the 3DS. So that'll actually make the game more accessible and playable, in my opinion, not only to myself, but to everyone. So I'll leave it at that. Questions, comments you can ask here on YouTube. For a quicker response, I suggest you use the blog link top of the video description box, or mosey on over to oneofwisdom.com. You follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Got a lot more exclusive Swap Force content from E3, from my vantage point and perspective. If you don't want to miss that, make sure you're subscribed. That way you'll get it, to your feed. You can kind of follow along as it happens. And until next time, I will catch you later. It is exactly 5 a.m., so hopefully you're in bed. I'm headed there. For everyone in Australia and New Zealand that winds up seeing my stuff first, good afternoon. I am going to bed. So we'll catch you later. And again, 3DS version of Skylanders Swap Force. The graphics looked pretty good on it as well, but I mean, just the little things matter, and this is a huge upgrade, and I can't wait to play it firsthand.